Prepárate, que esta rumba está que empieza. Acércate, que el bailongo es hasta que amanezca. Un ritmo caliente, la disco se enciende.
My name is Giovanna Claudio-Cotto, and I am from Puerto Rico. My childhood was very happy. It started out in Puerto Rico, and I moved to the United States around approximately 7 years old, just before I turned 7, due to some unforeseen circumstances with my brother's health. My journey to the States was a very difficult transition. I knew no English. The only phrase I really knew was, I need water and can I go to the bathroom? When I arrived here, my parents really didn't know a lot about the schooling system. And in Puerto Rico, I was in private schools. So they immediately looked for a private school to put me in, which meant that there was no support for learning English. So that was a very, very difficult year, having to learn English with no support whatsoever, other than my mom, who was a teacher. She was an English teacher in Puerto Rico, so she knew the language and was able to support me at home. Other than learning English, my biggest struggle was the culture shock. Coming to the United States, there were a lot of things that were different from me, even from how you communicated with teachers on a daily basis. For example, getting in trouble. In my growing up in Puerto Rico, you put simple things like you put your head down when a teacher spoke to you, and here it was a sign of disrespect. How people spoke to each other, seeing kids interact with each other was much different. I felt that I had grown up in a system where you had to respect your elders, and seeing kids disrespect elders was shocking to me because it wasn't something that I was used to. I went to Hutch Tech here in Buffalo, and it's a little interesting because I went for biochem technology. So initially I had a teacher, Mr. Hurley, who was very, very hard. His class was hard. But that taught me that I couldn't get to places just because I thought I was intelligent. I had to put work. And trust me, I put a lot of work into that class. I cried. That was the first time that I ever cried for failing a test. First test I ever failed in my life. But he taught me the value of putting in hard work because life wasn't going to be easy. My junior and senior year, I was involved in a program called Angelo del Toro Hispanic Youth Leadership Institute. And a couple of my mentors from there were Denise Gomez, Dr. Jose Rivera, Michael Capurso, who no longer lives in the area. But they pushed me to see how you can get involved with your community. And part of the goals of the program is to see how you can impact your community. So that kind of began the thought process of how I can impact change. I then decided to go to the University at Buffalo, and I went in originally for chemistry because of Mr. Hurley, and then I switched over my major to political sciences with a pre-law concentration, and that's what I finished my undergrad in. After graduating, immediately, I graduated on a Sunday, and a Monday there was a position available to substitute in Buffalo Public Schools. And my mom said, you really don't have a plan. Why don't you just substitute for the next month and a half for this teacher that's out on medical leave? So I was 21 years old. I walked into this classroom, and after the first day, I loved it. And I said, I don't even know why I went to school for this, because my whole life, I always helped out in Sunday school. I always knew that I liked teaching kids. So that got me on the path of seeking a career in education, and the rest is history.